Alright, we back. Goku and Marvel Season 2, Episode 3. The Monkey Meets the Devil. Let's get to it. And be sure you guys hit that like button, alright? Don't be skimming with that like button, man. Before I mess around, wind up behind you, and put my wet finger in your ear. Alright? Think about that. Anyway, let's get it. The air in the Himalayan highlands was thin and crisp, scented of pine and ancient snow. With a low hum that tore the fabric of reality, a golden sparkling portal swirled into existence. From its shimmering depths stepped Goku, his new mystic robes a stark contrast against the grimy brick alley he now found himself in. The portal snapped shut behind him, leaving only the familiar, acrid smell of New York City. Exhaust, garbage, and concrete. He inhaled deeply, a feral grin spreading across his face. It was a scent of conflict, of strong fighters hidden in the urban jungles. The urban concrete jungle. His first thought was on Elektra. She had been his last tether to this world before his long isolation in Kunlun. He needed to find her, to show her the immense power that he had learned, to see if the fierce glint in her eyes would now be matched by a flicker of surprise. Cracking his neck, he stepped out of the shadows and into the neon-drenched chaos of Hell's Kitchen. His battle hearing, always attuned to the frequency of combat, picked it up instantly. The sharp clang of metal on metal, the grunt of exerted effort, the whisper of projectiles cutting through the air. His head snapped toward a rooftop 2 blocks over. With the powerful leap that cracked the pavement beneath his feet, he cleared the distance, landing slightly on an adjacent fire escape. Peering over the ledge, his eyes fell upon a chaotic dance. A squadron of hand ninjas, their garb like bloodstains in the moonlight, moved with lethal synchronicity, and in their center, a man in a startling red costume, complete with menacing like horns, was a whirlwind of defiance. He was outnumbered, surrounded, yet he was holding his own, not with overwhelming power, but with sheer impossible skill. Goku's curiosity, a predator's interest in a fascinating new specimen, was immediately piqued. Deciding the reunion with Elektra might have something to do with this mystery man in red, he crouched, ready to intervene in this intriguing skirmish. From his vantage point, Goku watched the battle unfold with an analytical eye, much as Craven had taught him. The man in red was a master of his own environment. He used the rooftops, vents, and ducts as springboards, his acrobatics a fluid, almost preternatural ballet. In his hands, 2 red billy clubs became extensions of his will, deflecting a flurry of thrown shuriken with sharp, precise cracks. He moved not like someone who could see his attackers, but like someone who could feel the entire battlefield around him. The shift of air from a swinging blade, the minute sound of a footstep on gravel, the intake of breath before a strike. He ducked under a katana slash, sweep the legs out from one ninja, and used the rebound to launch a club into the jaw of another. It was efficient, brutal, and beautiful. This wasn't a simple brawler. This was an artist of combat. Goku's grin widened. This was exactly the kind of interesting fighter he would have loved to find in this area. The fight reached a momentary stalemate. The remaining hand ninjas circled cautiously, respecting the damage the red-garbed warrior had already inflicted on them. It was then that Goku made his move. He dropped from the fire escape, not with the thunderous crash, but with the practiced silent landing of a panther, landing directly between DareDevil and his assailants. The ninjas poised to strike again, and then froze. Their masked faces turned to the new arrival, and recognition flashed in their postures. As one, they took a step back, lowered their heads in a deep, unmistakable bow of respect. Their weapons were sheathed. Goku's face remained an impassive mask, his arms crossed over his chest. Without turning to look at them fully, he issued a quiet, authoritative command. Leave. This one is mine to speak with. Without a word of protest, the ninjas melted back into the shadows of the rooftop, leaving Goku alone with the bewildered devil of Hell's Kitchen. As the last ninja vanished, Goku turned slowly, the serious expression melting away to be replaced by a characteristic wide grin. He looked the red-suited man up and down, his tail giving an appreciative twitch. Not bad, he said, his voice full of genuine admiration. Really, not bad at all. Holding your own against a full-hand strike team by yourself. That's something. He took a casual step closer, his head tilted. I can hear your heart hammering, smell the adrenaline that's on you. But I don't hear any weird energy humming. I don't feel any weird energy humming. Don't see any super strength. You're just good. Really, really good. That's way more impressive than some guy who just hits hard because he was born that way. It was the highest compliment that Kraven's apprentice could give. Another fighter. DareDevil, his every sense screaming that this new individual was magnitudes more dangerous than the entire ninja squad he was just facing, didn't wait for the conversation to continue. Assessing Goku as the greatest threat, he moved with blinding speed, closing the distance and lashing out with the billy club aimed precisely at Goku's temple. But Goku didn't even flinch. With a casual flick of his wrist, he muttered a single mystic syllable. A small hexagonal shield of shimmering green energy, the shield of Seraphim, materialized in the air, deflecting the strike with a sound like a ringing bell. Before DareDevil could react to the impossible defense, Goku laughed and delivered a gentle, almost playful kick to his chest, sending him stumbling backward across the rooftop. Whoa, easy there. I like it. You're not one for small talk, huh? Just straight to action. He chuckled, shaking his head. I can respect that. Really, I can. As DareDevil regained his footing, wary confusion evident in his stance, Goku held up his hands in a placating gesture. Relax. I told you. I just want to talk. I'm looking for someone. A woman. Elektra. You know her? At the name, DareDevil's posture changed subtly. A tension that was more than just combat readiness thrummed through him. He lowered his club slightly. Elektra, he said, his voice a low gravel. So you're the other one. The one who she told me about. The body of the hand. Goku's brow furrowed. She talked about me? The concept was foreign. Before he could ask what she'd said, DareDevil gestured with his chin toward the city skyline. If you're looking for answers, check the penthouse, Fist Tower. Kingpin always has them. Goku's smile returned, wider and more feral than before. A name, a location, a possible hunt. Kingpin, he repeated, the word tasting of potential. Yeah, I think I'll do that. With a powerful leap, he was gone into the night, leaving DareDevil there. Goku stood in the shadow of a monolithic skyscraper, its apex glittering like a crown. Fisk Tower. Storming the front door seemed loud, messy, and would give his prey too much warning that he wouldn't be able to escape before he could get the answers that he wanted. Kraven had taught him to study his quarry before the strike. Remembering his training with Strange, he slipped into a darker alley. Leaning against the cool brick wall, he closed his eyes, focusing his mind with a subtle pull of energy. His astral form slipped free from his physical body. In this ghostly state, he soared upward, invisible and intangible, passing through the building's layers of steel and concrete. He found the penthouse suite, opulent, vast, and currently occupied by a massive, impeccably dressed man staring out over his city behind his desk. Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin, Goku's spirit noted, the room's layout, the number of guards. There were 3 outside the main door, and the man's position. Satisfied, he snapped back to his body, his eyes snapping open. Now he knew exactly where to hit. Astral reconnaissance was over. Now was the time for a statement. Goku burst through from the alley, took a single running start, and launched himself upward. He rocketed past dozens of floors in a heartbeat, aiming not for a window, but for a solid wall adjacent to the main penthouse living area. He balled his fist, a fraction of space in a cloud of dust and debris. He balled his fist, a fraction of his Saiyan power coursing through it. With a thunderous cracoom, he punched clean through the reinforced concrete and steel rebar, exploding into the opulent space in a cloud of dust and debris. He landed in a slight crouch amidst the ruin, chunks of wall and insulation raining down around him. It was not a subtle entrance. It was a declaration. To show him he meant business. He straightened up, brushing dust from his robes, as he fixed his eyes on the room's sole occupant. Wilson Fisk slowly turned from the window, his face a mask of cold, simmering fury. The expensive scotch in his glass didn't even tremble. "Do you have any idea," he began, his voice low, dangerous rumble, "how much that wall cost?" But his eyes, sharp and calculating, were already assessing the newcomer. This was no ordinary assassin. The casual power, the unearthly demeanor. Fisk's anger was quickly overridden by pragmatic caution. Goku ignored the question, getting straight to the point. "Where's Elektra?" Fisk studied him for a long moment, his mind racing. Then a connection was made. The stories Elektra had mentioned. The Hand's legendary enforcer. Dimitri, Fisk stated, more to himself than to Goku. He decided truth was the best tool here. She is tidying up. Arrival. Silvio Manfredi made an attempt on my life. It was, of course, unsuccessful, obviously. She is now ensuring that he understands the cost of his failure. And then he provided him with an address. Goku gave a simple, sharp nod without another word. He turned and walked back toward the gaping hole in the wall that he had made. Kingpin watched him go, a spark of ever-curious interest in his eyes. This was the body of the hand, a living weapon of unimaginable strength and durability. His head of security now rushing into the room with drawn weapons. He was utterly insignificant by comparison. "Sir, are you all right? We heard." Fist silenced him with a raised hand, his gaze still fixed on the night sky where Goku had vanished. "That," Fist murmured, almost to himself, "is a considerable amount of power. I wonder what his price is." The wheels of ambition began to turn within his mind. The warehouse was a carnal house. Bodies in fine Italian suits lay strewn about, their blood seeping into the sawdust-covered concrete. In the center stood Electra, a statue of death and beauty. She slowly wiped the blood from her side of a fallen man, the new crimson stains blending seamlessly with the red of her own attire. The mission was complete. The message had been sent. She took a deep, steadying breath, the metallic tang of blood filling her lungs, and turned to leave, stepping out into the cool night air of the industrial district. The moment she exited, every one of her heightened senses screamed a warning. She was not alone. Her hand went to her sword hilt, and she turned slowly, her eyes scanning the darkness. Then she saw him, a figure leaning against a motorcycle, wreathed in an eerie, flickering flame that danced around a grinning skull. The air grew cold. "Electra, not Chios," the spirit intoned, its voice a symphony of torment and rage. It raised a gloved hand, a chain dangling from his wrist. "The souls of those you've murdered cry out for justice. They cry out for vengeance." Hellfire gathered in its palm, casting a dim light upon her face. "And tonight, they will have it." And that's where we're going to end this episode, man. So next episode will be Goku versus Ghost Rider. All right, so be sure to hit that like button. Like I said, you don't want me to pop about that cut with that wet finger. So anyways, man, till the next one, come on, peace.